Hi, it's your girl Mandy again. Um, I just want to say hi to everybody, and I am going to preface this video with some information so that way you can understand what the video is about. I'm going to do something a little bit different this time. I feel that I need to document this moment because some crazy shit went down last night. And YouTube is kind of like a video diary for me also. I know I don't really divulge a lot of, things about my personal life really. It's more about like makeup and like hauls and different things, but I feel like this deserves some sort of accounting for, I guess you could say. A record of it, if you will. But give me 1 second, it's kind of warm in here, so I'm gonna turn on the fan real quick. Okay, so this is a serious video, although I'm a very comedic person. I bring comedy to any situation. It's my coping mechanism to make myself feel better, I guess. But it was just crazy last night. And I'm going to preface this with this, okay? I don't want to give the whole video away because obviously I want you to stay and watch my video, right? But last night, I can't even like think right now. I'm so frazzled. That's why I wanted to record this, because it's like fresh on my mind and I can like recount everything to you, what happened. But as you know, it was 2 days ago. It was Halloween, right? And the day after that, here, I live in Brownsville, Texas, and here we celebrate, the Mexican culture celebrates Dia de los Muertos, okay, which basically, if you don't know what that is, basically it's like where you honor the dead, basically what you do is you create some sort of altar and you feed them food and different things as they kind of like pass over into like, I guess, their new life or new world or whatever you want to call it. Basically, it's like basically just like honoring, those who have passed away. And from what I understand, last night was like All Saints Day, basically. It was for children, and then today is supposed to be for adults. Okay, so it's kind of this tradition. I don't personally celebrate it, but I know like it's a huge thing here, and a lot of people do. And I think I'll just leave it at that. Okay, so you can kind of gather, Halloween and that back to back. Okay, spiritually, what those, not the consequences, but what can happen, right? And so last night, I celebrated back to back. I went to the 80s 90s club Friday night for Halloween, and then I went last night again for Dias Muertos because some of my friends didn't really feel like going on Halloween, but some of them did end up going, so we had a good time. Halloween was fine, like nothing happened Halloween, right? Nothing to report back, okay? The normal standard dancing, having fun, whatever, Halloween contest, whole thing. Well, okay, so the next night, which was last night, we went to the 80s 90s club, call it club, and we got there early, right? And I don't know how to explain this to you, because a lot of people will think this is crazy and they're not going to believe my story. It's one of those things where you kind of had to be there to understand the vibes and what was happening and the feelings and the emotions and just everything, okay? But, again, I want to get this story out there because I believe it to be real and I experienced it and I know what I experienced and I know what I saw. So basically we get there and it's real chill, right? There's like really not a lot of people there, whatever, right? So we're talking over the music. The DJ hasn't started yet. And I'm going to tell you a lot of details and I might be all over the place. I apologize, but just bear with me. Just follow me, okay? It gets freaking freaky, okay? So we're having a conversation. It was pretty cool, whatever, right? So I'm going to tell you a lot of details because maybe there's connections that I didn't see, or maybe there's connections that you'll see. I don't know, but it was just an abnormal night, if you will, okay? Things didn't go down like how they usually do, right? So basically, um, we got there, right? And then we had went to a restaurant beforehand. We had a great time. A lot of good friends, a lot of good company, and it was amazing, right? So then we decided to go to the club again. So we get there, and then my friend, I'll just call friend one, friend two, okay? My friend one decides that she's kind of hungry or whatnot, and we decide to venture outside. It's like in a plaza area. We decided to venture outside. Nothing happened out there, right? But it's just kind of funny what we got ourselves into. But anyway, so we go outside, and she's looking for food. There's nothing really around there. They're like, oh, there's a food place, a burrito place down there. Well, it actually ended up, it closed at 10. It had just closed. So couldn't get anything to eat, right? So she says, oh, let's go across the street. There's a hotel, right? And I'm like, okay, I guess. I mean, you want snacks? All right, fine. You know, I'm down. I'm down for anything, right? And so we go across the street, and it was just kind of funny because they didn't ask us for a room number or anything, right? And so she's there rating the snacks and whatever, and she's like, oh, here, I'll get your gum, because I was complaining that I needed like mints or some kind of gum or something, right? So she gets my gum, we find the gum, and it was kind of funny because there was like a bunch of like bowls of fruit, right? Like random bowls of fruit, like apples, bananas, I don't know what, right? Blueberries, I don't know. Just fruit everywhere, right? And so I'm just being silly, right? And then my friend one asked, hey, like, is the fruit, how much is the fruit? And then she's like, oh, it's free or whatever. And so we're just like, oh, okay, cool, whatever. So then I funnily asked the lady, hey, like, is it real? You know what I mean? Because like sometimes I know that some people have seen like bowls of fruit somewhere and they think it's real, right? At somebody's house or something, and it's like fake, Anyway, so I was just being silly. But anyway, so she's like, no, it's free. So it was hilarious because my friend one decides to grab a banana on the way out. So we go back to the club, right? We go back. And I'm cracking up because, I mean, I just find everything silly. Like, I love life so much, even though I've been through so many, like, trials and tribulations in my life. Like, I try to find the good in moments as much as I can. And I try to stay positive. I know it at times I'm not, right? But, I try to stay positive in my life and just kind of, like, have fun, And that's what I'm all about. I'm all about being lighthearted and fun and not being so serious, and this was a serious thing for me. It truly was, but I'll get to that. But so we go across the street, and then it's hilarious because we have all these like random things on the table, and I'm telling friend two, hey, like, aren't you gonna be like, what the hell's going on here? Like, why do you have a banana, like random nuts and like chips? It was just fucking weird. It was fucking funny. So I'm trying to get her attention, and I don't know, it just, like I said, like the vibes were like off. I don't know. She couldn't hear me. She didn't hear me. I don't know what was going on. It was just really strange. So finally I get her attention, and she's like, oh, I didn't, and then so I'm like cracking up, right? So then, of course, silly me, I grab the banana, right? And I'm just like, hey, like on the phone, and I take a picture and just being silly, whatever, right? So I take pictures, whatever. So the first thing that I noticed when we first got there was that the waitress is usually very friendly, very nice, very attentive. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're regulars there, so like she comes, and serves us and whatnot. But I just noticed that she wasn't in the best of moods, and I just thought, maybe she's having a bad night. I mean, I don't know anybody's life, I try to be understanding that, we don't know what people are going through or whatever, right? So I'm just like, oh, okay, maybe she's just having an off night, whatever, right? So that's the first thing that I noticed, okay? Then the previous times that we've gone, I was hit on by this 60-year-old, okay? Mind you, I ain't 60, all right? So it was a little bit weird. I think it was like a few weekends ago. And he bought us drinks, whatever. It was just, right? Okay? Like, obviously, that's not what I want, right? So anyway, I'm sitting there, and then all of a sudden, like, I see his supposed friend from Houston. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's such bogus. You know what I'm saying? Like, you probably come around here a lot and you just like hit on people and like see what you can get kind of thing, you know? So I see the friend and I'm like, oh shit, right? And so then I see him and I'm like, oh my God. And I'm so uncomfortable, okay? And he's right there by the bar and I'm like, just go away. Like I just don't want you here. And I was so uncomfortable. So I'm just sitting there with my back and I'm like, what do I do? I tell my friend one, hey, like, what do I do? She's like, well, I mean, obviously just ignore it, right? So I'm sitting there and then I go outside to find friend number 2. And mind you, last night it wasn't a full moon or anything like that. It was like a gibbous moon or something like that. Like 80%, like, you know, the moon is full or whatever, right? But it was really weird because we kept seeing like weird lightning. And this kind of may coincide with this story somehow. So that's why I'm just like telling you. I know it sounds weird, like why the hell are you telling me about the weather, girl, you know, but so there was some strange like weather going on. Like the lightning was crazy. Like it was just weird vibes outside. And so I go outside to find my friend too, because apparently there's like terrible service like at this place, right? And it's never been like that before. So it's really weird. But anyway, so the last few times we went, it's like that. So she's outside and she's hilarious because she's on the phone with T-Mobile or whatever. And then I'm just there shitting the stick with her, right? And then we're just like laughing and the lady just keeps going. You know how they just like love to talk and you're like, dude, I'm in the middle of something, whatever, right? So anyway, so I'm like, well, I'm going to go back inside, you know, and she's like, okay. So she's finishing up the phone call, whatever. And then it starts freaking like pouring like cats and dogs, like as soon as I walk in the door. And I didn't know this, right? And so she comes in and she's all wet and she's like, oh, you just walked in. And then it started pouring. I was like, cool, that's cool. I didn't want to get wet, you know, whatever. So anyway, so the night continues on, right? Okay. Now, I'm single, right? And so of course I'm, you know, just like weighing my options and whatever, you know, like right now I'm just having fun, right? And so there's this, we call him Grasshopper. Okay, we'll call him Grasshopper. That's what we call him. And he is a regular there, and I think he's attractive. I'll just say that. Okay, so it's like I feel like I'm divulging so much information right now, but that's okay. All right. So I like attention, okay? I don't know what it is or why or what. I don't want to open the whole can of worms of my psyche, right? But I do, okay? So I've always been trying to like get his attention on the dance floor, like dancing next to him, like, you know, I love to jump around too. That's why we call him the Grasshopper, because he just like jumps around a lot and is like very animated, just like me, right? So I guess I find that attractive, right? Because like I'm the same way. So this has been going on for like the longest time. Never paid attention to me, never, nothing, right? So I'm just like, okay, whatever. So a few weekends, maybe like a month ago or so, I was standing at the bar and he actually acknowledged me for once. And I'll tell you this, he said I was sexy, I don't know what, right? So I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. But then found out that he had a girlfriend. So I'm like, okay, like that's a no-go, right? Like I was like, okay, good luck with that, bro. Like, see you later kind of thing, right? But it doesn't mean that I still don't, you know, notice him or like, you know, like it's a girl thing, I guess. But so continue to see him, and I noticed that, you know, he's still looking at me a lot, things like that, right? And so I think it's important to mention this because last night was just weird. But anyway, so a lot of backstories. So last night I was like hoping that he would be there. Obviously, I know that I'm not gonna get involved, nothing's gonna happen. But you know, you still have your crushes, or you're just, you know, I don't know. But regardless, he shows up, right? And I'm like, okay, cool, he's here because he's always there, right? And so I go to the dance floor. I mean, I'm going to dance regardless, right? Like, I have always been a person who, you know, walks to the beat of her own drum. I've always been like that. And so, you know, I'm just like, whatever. I just want to dance. I want to have a good time. Like, it is what it is, you know? And so I go out there, I'm having fun dancing, and I come back, and my friend one is watching, you know how like they have like the movies, or like they had like movies on the TV and stuff like that. And they're like the most weird, like random movies. I'm like, why are we even watching this? Like it's just strange, weird shit. And you're like, I don't want to see this. You know what I mean? Like it's not setting the right vibe. So she's watching this and she's freaking out, and I'm like, and I thought it was weird, right? It's just one of those things where it's not necessarily scary, but like it's weird and it's gross, and like I don't want to watch it, okay? Just like weird funky shit. So I, so she's freaking out, okay? So just think about this, the emotions, okay? The emotions are running high. It was like everybody was in their feels. It was the weirdest thing. So she's freaking out. I'm trying to go on the dance floor, right? And then after a while, it's like people are pushing me off the dance floor. Like not literally, but like I couldn't dance. And people were just like literally I'm on the edge of the dance floor, and people are just like not letting me. It was like a push and pull situation. It was really strange. Like I don't know how to explain it to you, but I couldn't dance, and I love to dance. And I need to dance, right? So, if you know what I'm referencing, you know. So I'm just throughout the night, I don't know, I'm just getting more and more like agitated, right? And so at one point I get so upset that I try to like squeeze into the dance floor, and there's like guardrails or whatnot. And I say to the air, they probably didn't hear me because the music's so loud, right? But I say to the air, fuck you guys, like, and so I'm trying to like squeeze in, and I'm getting more agitated and agitated. I don't know what's causing this. I'm freaking out, right? It was weird. So, and then, okay, so I'm trying to dance. Okay, that's one thing. And I can't. Then I go back to the table and I'm frustrated and I'm upset. Okay. Is it something to be upset about? Not really. So that's part of my story, okay? Trust me. Like at the end, you'll be like, oh, okay, I get it. Okay. So, then I noticed that Grasshopper, is like not paying attention to me, like whatsoever. Like not looking at me, not engaging, like nothing, like nada, right? And so I'm like, oh shit, okay. So then I'm a little bit bothered by that. Even though it's like, okay, girl, what did you expect? You know what I mean? Like, just silliness, right? Like, girls are so silly. Like, I'm all up in my feels all the time. I can't help it. But anyway, so I'm upset about that too. And I'm like, oh my God, at least before he would acknowledge me a little bit. You know what I mean? And then I noticed like when I was dancing, like I would get into a certain area and then he was going to go, but then he would like back off and like not go. And I just noticed like, I don't know, it was just really strange the way that he was acting and like everybody was acting. So I'm like, okay. And then I see him like engaging with these like old women, and I'm like, how gross. Like, you're 32. I think he was like 32 or something like that. I'm like, how gross. Like these women are like all over him, like, ugh, you know what I mean? And then I'm sure they're buying his shots or some shit, because he was just like, I could see him taking shots and stuff, and they were dancing with him, and I was just like, man, like that's pretty shitty too if you think about it, because like he has a girlfriend, and it's not like I expected him to like be all over me, but I would like a little bit of just like acknowledgement, like, hey, how's it going? Even if you're just like a friend or somebody I talk to when I go, like it doesn't have to like escalate into anything, right? But that's besides the point. That's neither here nor there. But I don't know how to explain it to you, but it just really like hit me. And then I sat down and I was just like, I don't know. I felt sad. I felt defeated, even though there's nothing to feel sad or defeated about. You know what I'm saying? It's not like it was anything, right? And I know you're like, girl, you're just talking about your emotions right now. Like, no, I'm going to get to it right now. I'm going to try to speed it up here, okay? So then I noticed that my friend across is like looking frustrated too, right? And remember I told you friend 1 was freaking out about this movie. Friend 2 is upset. It just, the vibes, everybody was just, I don't understand. It's just pure chaos. So I'm like, dude, and she's like, let's go, I'm hungry. And I didn't really want to leave, okay? Mind you, I didn't really want to leave. But I forgot to tell you this part, okay? So before I got back to the table and I was all sad and all, I don't know what the hell, right? I was dancing on the dance floor and I look over, okay? And I know I had said it was Dia de los Muertos, right? And some people had dressed up in costumes, okay? But just like silly, stupid costumes, okay? And I look over and there's this lone table right by the door, and it's like right by the dance floor. And there's like guardrails. So I look over and it's this guy. But he just dressed like a vampire, okay? And I swear to you that was a real vampire. Like, no joke. I am dead serious. He started chomping at me, okay? It's kind of funny, okay? Like, we were laughing about it in the car at first, like, after all this happened. But, like, it chilled me to the core. Like, I was fucking scared. And he started, like, going, like, literally chomping at me. Like, I'm on the dance floor, and I'm like, what the hell is, like, his teeth were real. Like, they were sharp and long, and they were not fake, okay? His clothes were, like, dusty, crusty. I know I say it in a funny way, but, like, they looked, yeah, oh my God. Like, it was the scariest thing ever happened to me. And so I get the chills. I freak out, and I'm like, oh my God, right? And so I'm like terrified. So I go running off the dance floor. And then that's when I kind of like sat down. And then all of a sudden, like from that moment on, that interaction, I started feeling like it was like he was that interaction messed with my energy, okay? And I'm sitting there like, just all these emotions, sad. I don't know what. It was the strangest thing. So my friend's over there flipping out about the bill. She looks fucking pissed. I'm upset. I'm sad. I'm all over the place. And I'm like, dude, let's just figure the fucking bill, in the car. Like, let's go. You say you're hungry and you want to go. Like, who cares? I'll sell you the money, whatever. Like, I don't care right now, right? And so I'm just like, I've had it, right? And so finally we end up leaving, okay? And so we get in the car, and then I'm sad, and they're like, what's wrong? And I'm just going on and on, but I'm feeling, and I don't know what's wrong, and I don't know what's wrong with me, And then I tell them about the vampire guy chomping at me. And they're like, what do you mean he was chomping at you? I go, yes, he was chomping. Like, he was literally like biting the air, but he was like looking at me straight in the eye, and it was like, it was the most terrifying thing ever. So I'm telling them, and at first we're like cracking up, and then we're making jokes, and then we got a little bit more lighthearted after I like cried a little bit and whatever, right? And so we're just like talking about the whole situation, and I'm like, okay, that was freaky. I'm telling you, that was freaky, whatever. So we get, it was actually more about my emotions and what's going on with me rather than that situation, right? And so we go to Denny's, right? What's a night out without going to eat afterwards, right? So we're just like chilling, and then we're having a bunch of conversations and like just different things, being honest with each other, whatever, right? So because we're all really close. And so we're eating, and then as we're leaving, it dawns on me, okay? It dawns on me that he was a real vampire, because I wasn't the only one who was feeling these strange, weird emotions and vibes. Everybody was, okay? All of my friends were. And we were just saying how like strange it was. And then my friend one was like, hey, like I saw him too. Like he was roaming around the room, like he was roaming around the club, you know? And I was like, oh my gosh, like I have never been more convinced in my life that this was real. Because during that time of Dia de los Muertos or even Halloween, you know, I'm a very spiritual person, okay? And I'm not here to like speak about spirituality. Whatever it is that you practice, that's whatever you practice. And whatever you believe, that's what you believe, right? But I do know from experience, from others, and things that I've felt and seen, that when you are a very spiritual person, you open yourself up to these kinds of things and these sensitivities, and things will attack you, okay? They will try to test your faith, and it's just crazy, right? And so, you know, like I've always been very spiritual and I've always believed in certain things. I'm not here to get into that, but you know, I believe in ghosts and aliens and, you know, demons and all kinds of stuff. I mean, why not? Like it's not the most outlandish thing you've ever heard, right? And so so I forgot where I was going with that story, but either way, it dawns on me that this man was a real vampire, and the veil is thin, and this is because in order for, you know, the dead to come back for that night, you know, you're making it offerings and things like that. Of course, they're, you know, the veil is thin because of the day, and so they're able to like cross over, right? And so, of course, that leaves the gateway open for other nefarious things and other entities and different things to come through. And what better night than to disguise yourself than Dia de los Muertos or even Halloween, okay? Like, you're gonna look like, okay, people are gonna think you're in a costume, right? Or you're really getting into your role. But no, this guy was real, okay? So I'm flipping out because I'm like, guys, it just dawned on me. That guy was a vampire. He was real. And he was walking around the room, literally sucking the energy out of everybody. There's a reason why they call them energy vampires, right? Because they're literally like messing with your energy, okay? So everybody agreed that, you know, the night was freaking weird, just all around. Emotions were high, okay? So get this. So we're leaving Denny's. My friend tells me about the veil being lifted, and I was like, this all makes sense now. You know what I'm saying? Like it didn't click, but then it clicked. So we're on our way home, okay? And apparently last night in Brownsville, okay, there was a lot of shit that went down. The weather was insane. Hail, lightning, all kinds of crap happened, like weird shit that people were documenting, okay? There's this Facebook page called Brownsville Hood, okay? If you don't believe me, go on there, see what posts are there, okay? People were just reporting like weird weather, just like strange events. So we're on our way home, okay? And we get onto our one of the main roads, which is Pablo Casel, and there's cops everywhere, okay? There's people everywhere. Like it looked like something happened, okay? And this was just the area that we were in. It's like this stretch of road where there's all these plazas and bars, and I know, okay, yeah, drunk people, whatever, right? Yes, I get that. But apparently, okay, so there was sirens going off. It was blocked off. I mean, it was like, what's going down over here? You know what I mean? And so we see people driving around drunk, like on the wrong side of the road. It was just chaotic. So then my friend this morning, I went to have breakfast with my friend. And of course I came home and couldn't sleep. I was really bothered by this event and just the night in general. And so I almost feel, going back to what happened with that 60-year-old guy showing up, me being uncomfortable, the waitress, grasshopper, the dance floor, like it just felt like somebody was fucking things up. Normally, I would be having a good time, you know, things would be good, energetic, but that night just wasn't. It was very strange and unnerving, if you will. So, so we're like concerned. We're like, what's going down? What's happening? You know? And so we're just like worried about getting home safe because we don't know what's going down. Like it's crazy out there. So they finally dropped me off and I'm like, hey, wait till I get inside. You know, like I'm a little bit like creeped out. So I get inside fine. Of course, I have trouble sleeping. I sleep with my little doggy, you know, because I'm like, dude, this is scary. So in the morning, I have breakfast with her and she's telling me, like, she believes me, right? She believes me that I experienced what I experienced. And another friend of mine said that he locked eyes with her. But she's more like, she's not as sensitive. Like, there's just some people who are just like more sensitive to those kind of things. And I'm one of them. And so she was just like, get the, you know, F away from me, even though I've said the F word this whole time. But, you know, she's just kind of like, he like literally stopped, looked her dead in the eyes. And she was just like, you know what I mean? Like, just kind of like blew it off. But I'm not like that, okay? I feel people's energies, okay? And he was not somebody to be messed with. So anyways, I get home fine, right? And so I tell my friend to, hey, call your sister, which is our friend, right? Call your sister and make sure that she got home okay, because she stayed, okay? And I was debating whether I'm staying or not, okay? This is the crazy thing, because you know how they say, like, the vampires are, like, alluring, or, you know, they try to, like, pull you in. And it was like I was being pulled in, but then my intuition was like, no, girl, you better go home. You're better off staying home, because this vibe is not it, okay? And you just better go with them, okay? It's just best if you do. So I listened to my intuition and I said, you know, hey, I better go with you guys, okay? So she tells me in the morning that apparently that Brownsville was chaotic last night, that fights were breaking out. Like, I'm telling you, the emotions were running high. I'm telling you, he was going around fucking up people, okay? He was screwing with people. And there were fights. And I know you can say, well, you know, people were drunk, whatever. But no, it was to the point where there's something going down. It's not like just, oh, there was like a random fight, no big deal, right? No, it was everywhere. Literally, there were reports around the valley on this Facebook page about fights breaking out, crowds, police, sirens, all kinds of weather, just chaos from all angles around the valley. It was insane. And this was all happening last night, okay? That is not a coincidence. That is not a coincidence. I'm sorry, but no. Stuff like that does not, I'm not saying that bar fights and like different things like that don't happen. But to have so many people reporting all of this chaos that night, of all nights, no. I'm sorry, but no. So, I met a real vampire last night. And I don't know how I feel about that. You know, and of course I told my mom and she was like, oh, we shouldn't go out. I mean, it's not going to prevent me from going out, right? I'm still going to live my life. But I am just glad that I am okay and that my friends are okay and that everything is safe and everybody is okay. But I truly believe what I saw and what I felt and the strangeness of the night. That was definitely real. And I know you can tell that I'm being very authentic right now because it shook me. It really did. And I wanted to document it, you know. I wanted to document it because while it was fresh in my mind, you know, and while I was feeling the things that I'm feeling. I didn't want the moment to pass, you know, because the more time that passes, the less likely I'll record this video, the less likely I'll, you know, think about it or talk about it. But I believe in these things, and I believe because I'm a spiritual being, that's what was happening. And so, moral of the story, the Day of the Dead is no joke. I can't recall ever, like, maybe I've gone out on that night and I don't remember, or I don't know, but celebrating Halloween has not been a thing for me in a long time. I'll say that. And so I was excited to actually go out, have a good time, and, you know, just have fun. And despite all of that, I did have fun, you know, because my friends and I are just joking around and all of that. But yeah, so that's my story. That is my story time. Super fun, right? Super fun. But anyways, so I hope that whoever's watching this video did not have anything awful happen to them, did not experience what I experienced. And, you know, with that, I bid you adieu. So I guess I'll catch you guys later on the next video. Bye, guys.